So this will be 13.2, factoring trinomials. Oh, you're right. We're going to start with ones that are in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. I will say I teach both techniques the same and add a rule. So we'll start off with this one. This is where your multiplication table will come into handy. So we have x squared plus, ooh, I'm going sideways. Hold on. Plus 10x plus 21. First thing you should notice, does this have a greatest common factor? It does not. It's also not 4 terms, so we can't do our factor by grouping that we just did in the last section. So here is a new technique. Notice the B and the C. 10 is your B, and then the last number, or 21, would be the C. So the way this works, I call it the T-chart method. But you're trying to come up with 2 numbers that will multiply to your C, which in this case is equal to 21, and add to your B, which in this case is 10. Now, if you're really good with your multiples tables, you could probably do this really quick. If you're not, start off with your basics. 1 and 21. Okay. 1 times 21 does give me 21, but what's 1 plus 21? 22, not 10. So that one didn't work. So now I'm going to ask myself, does 2 go into 21? Nope. So then I'm going to go to the next number. I'm going to see, does 3 go into 21? How many times? 7. What's 3 plus 7? 10. There's your winner right there. So the way this works is a trinomial, that's 3 terms, will always factor into 2 binomials. So I'm going to go ahead and open up 2 sets of parentheses, where the leading term will always be whatever this is. In this case, it's an x. I say basically whatever that letter is. And those are the factors you just came up with. They're both positive. So you just say plus 3 plus 7. That's it. So what makes this challenging is your multiplication table. X plus 7. And if I was to do the box method, I would see that it would equal x squared plus 10x plus 21 if I wanted to check myself. All right, so try this one. X squared minus x minus 20. Well, what am I multiplying to? The sign will go with the number. The sign goes with the number. So instead of 20, it'll be negative 20. And what am I trying to add to? Perfect. There's an imaginary 1 here. So my B would be negative 1. Now, when you're going through your multiples table, again, if you know the answer, that's great. If you don't, go through the process. But if I start with 1 and 20, for it to multiply to a negative 20, one of them has to be a negative. Since I'm adding to a negative, that tells me that the bigger number has to be negative. All right. So if I'm multiplying to a negative, one of them has to be a negative. And since I'm adding to a negative, my bigger number would be negative. Now, in this case, what is 1 minus 20? Negative 19, right? Not the number I was looking for. So then I try 2. 2 goes into 10. 2 goes into 20. How many times? 10 times. And then you make it negative. But what's 2 minus 10? Negative 8. Still not the number I wanted. Does 3 go into 20? What about 4? How many times? 5. In this case, negative. Good. And now what's 4 minus 5? Negative 1. There's my winner. Now, how would I write this answer? Now that I got my factors, how would I write it? Not equals plus 4. X minus 5. So if it's a negative, it just becomes a minus. Go ahead. You're good. Mm-hmm. So it comes from right here. There's my C. Here's my B. So this is my C and this is my B. And technically, in the next section, you'll learn that this is A. Yep. I basically just kind of went over here. I'm trying to multiply 20. So basically, I'm coming up with all my factors of 20, but I'm trying to get it to add up to whatever the B is. Try this one. X squared minus 5x plus 6. It doesn't have to necessarily be the biggest number. It's just that this is always the C and this is always the B. What multiplies to 6? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. And I want these two terms the two factors that come up for 6, I want it to add to a negative 5. Good. The bigger number would be the net. Oh, I like this question. I want to multiply to a positive. This is kind of different from here, but add to a negative. There are 2 ways to multiply to a positive. They can either both be positive or they can both be negatives. Because -1 and -6 would still produce a positive, but add to a negative. But in this case, what is -1 minus 6? -7. So then we have to go to our next multiple, 2. How many times does 2 go into 6? 3. But since I wanted to add to a negative, they're both going to be negative since that's how you multiply to a positive. And what's -2 minus 3? There's your winner. That's right. So how do I write this? Perfect. And we good with that? All right. The rest of your homework then blends what we just learned in 12.1 with this technique. So number 4, part A, 7y cubed plus 35y squared minus 42y. So before you go into any type of factoring technique, if it's factor by grouping or this T-chart method, greatest common factor has to be your first question. Does this have a greatest common factor? 7. 7 what? 7y. Perfect. Now let's figure out what we have left, and I bet our numbers drastically get smaller. Not group them, I'm going to divide them. Yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah. So 7y cubed divided by 7y would be y2. Very good. Plus 35y squared divided by 7y. 5. 5y. Good. Those are y's. Sorry. Squared. So 2 take away 1, I only have 1 left. Just like over here, 3 take away 1, I only have 2 left. And then -6. Good. No y's because the y's would have canceled. So now I've put in 12.1 into this. Now I want you now to apply the 12.2 and now use the T-chart on what's left. So in this situation, what am I multiplying to? Very good. And what am I adding to? All right, I'll let you play with that for a little bit. Ooh. All right, so if I'm multiplying to a negative, let's start with the 1 and the 6. I know one of them has to be negative. But this time I'm adding to a positive, so I want my smaller number to be negative. So that when I add them, I actually get my result. And what happens is, what is -1 plus 6? It's 5. So then I got my winner right off the bat. In this case, it would be a Y. That's why I said to write whatever the letter it is. Very good. So how would I write that? Doing really good. Absolutely. You're killing me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I teach the online for dual credit at Livingston right now. Is it college algebra or nursing? Because my wife's a nurse. I've seen her math. Yeah, that's some. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, just send me your details and we can work something out. Okay. As of Tuesday, I'm actually AP by day, teacher at night. Yeah. Thank you. That's what everyone keeps asking me. Yes, ma'am. We did. That's right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. It's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. It's just a hardcore 8 weeks. Christmas break, it's gonna be amazing. That was a tough course. That's a tough course. Hmm. It's less time for you to forget it when you get to the final. It's gonna feel like you just learned it yesterday. Mm. Yeah, because it's not much math. You're just multiplying, plugging in numbers. But what makes it challenging, it's like an English course. You have to analyze what's given to you and then write basically a hypothesis of the situation that's going on and then prove it. Yeah. So if you don't like math and you like English, statistics would be the way to go. It's Epic, the one that had the most in it. I didn't want to do no English. All right, so how would I write this result? Oh, it'd be y minus 1. Those are y's that let's go around. You're good? So we got y minus 1, y plus 6. Now, here's the kicker that a lot of students will forget. That greatest common factor that we took out at the beginning, that needs to drop down as part of your answer. This 5 here, we came up with two numbers that multiply to -6 and add to 5. So by doing that, this 5 and 6 became -1 and 6. Because I wouldn't say it changed as much as the way that the pattern works is you have to multiply to your C and add to your B. So these numbers might not always be there. So if I backtrack over here, add a 5 and a 6 here, and then became a 2 and a 3. Because the goal is what multiplies to that last term, but add to that middle term. We just happen to have one of them ends up being a 6, but that's a coincidence. But the big thing is if you have a GCF, you have to bring it down in your answer. All right? So try this one. $11 x cubed y plus 22x squared y minus 33x y. Oh, I got you. Greatest common factor first. What is the greatest common factor? Going to, yeah. So it'd be what? So 11 I can agree with because 11 goes into 22 and 33. X, yes, but not x to the third power. What would the x be? When we don't add them, so we look at the smallest exponent. So this is a 3, this is a 2, so there's a 1 here. So it'd just be an x. What about the y? It would just be a y as well. So now I'm ready to divide. You group with 4 terms. But before we can do this, greatest common factor is what we have to do first. That should always be our number one question. So what's going to happen to 11s? Cancel out. X cubed divided by x. It'll be x squared. But what's going to happen to those y's? They cancel out. plus, what's 22 divided by 11? 2. X squared divided by x. X. The y's cancel. Then you have your minus. 33 divided by 11. 3. What happens to my x's? What happens to my y's? Cancel out. So now this is the problem I have. So I need to multiply to my c, which is -3, and add to my b, which is +2. There you go. -1 times 3 gets you -3, adds up to 2. How do I write my answer? Ooh, perfect. Okay. There it is. Oh, I wanted to multiply to a negative, but since I wanted to, which tells me that one of them has to be negative, but since I'm adding to a positive, that tells me the smaller number has to be negative. So if I'm multiplying to a negative, one of them has to be negative. Since I'm adding to a positive, the smaller number will be negative. I'm going to challenge you with this question. This will be the last one. 6x squared plus 12x minus 48. Doing the same thing. GCF should always be your number one question. Doesn't mean they're always going to be one. That should always be your number one question. Okay, I like it. X squared. Oh, this one doesn't have an X in it. So I can't pull out an X. That last term. So 6 would be your greatest common factor. Not the X squared. Just the 6. And I'd be left with the X squared. Correct? That's right. Be negative. It has a minus sign. Yeah, but the nice thing about that GCF part is notice This would really suck if I had to come up with two numbers that multiply to 48 and add up to 12. By doing greatest common factor, it's making my numbers a lot smaller. So now I just got to come up with multiples of 8 or -8 that add up to 2. To the C and add up to the B. You got it. Correct. Right. It would. Hold on. Let me get to you. So 1 or -1 and 8 does in fact give you the -8. But when I add it up, it gives me 7 and I want it 2. So I can't use that one. So now I got to come up with another multiple for -8. So now how to write the answer? I said, how do I write it? There we go. One thing to not have to stress about, you could have said x plus 4 and x minus 2, and that's still the same answer. So don't stress, like, how do you know which one goes first or anything like that? I do too, but just want to let you know that that part doesn't matter. All right, let's take another 5-minute break, and I'll get us ready for 13.3, which is the same thing. But now, what happens when there's an actual a, meaning there's a number in front of that x squared?